Today I'm going to show you how I decorated this birthday queen cake. Come join me. So I started first with creating the elements that would go onto the cake. This is an edible image that I am just darkening up her hair as it's very light in the image, and also the image kind of created some marks across it. So I wanted to make sure that her hair was filled in completely. So then I cut out the image and I'm going to put that aside as I work on the other elements for the cake. You'll notice there was more than one. I contemplated putting one on either side of the cake. So ultimately ended up only using one. So here I am creating a crown out of fondant. And this is me just making the various elements that I will put together to make that crown. And again, because I contemplated putting a picture of her on either side of the cake, I was making two crowns because I thought I might have um, the need for two of them for both of the images. After I was finished creating all of the pieces to the crown, I then needed to put them together. So here I'm using some piping gel to hold them in place. Here I am just straightening up the bottom of it to make sure that it's going to sit flat. So I've put it onto a piece of parchment paper, and I am just kind of curving it so that it is shaped the way it needs to sit on top of the cake. And I'm going to let this dry for several days to make sure that it's nice and sturdy before I go on to the next step. Add another piece for the other side of it, and then I'm going to wrap it around my shaker to make sure that it has the round shape that I'm looking for. And I'm going to tape these sides. This is what it had looked like before I started to put it around the shaker. So a few days later, I came back and I took it off, and now it is dry as it should be. And this is what it is turning out to look like. So here I am using some luster dust gold, and it is mixed with some lemon extract, and I'm painting that so it looks nice and royal. So I'm making sure that I get into the crevices of all those pieces that I put together. So then after I was done with that, I moved on to some roses in fondant that I'm going to be placing around the cake. So I have these little cutters that I used. So I'm just cutting out pieces in red, a dusty pink, and white. These pieces, once you cut them out, you fold them in half and roll them up, and they look like roses. Quite handy little tools right here. I rolled these out a little bit thinner because I wanted them to be just easier to roll and look more natural. So of course this is the red. And now this, you can't really tell here because it has a bunch of white powdered sugar on it, but this is the pink. And this is the white. And again, you fold those in half and then roll them up. Here I am just kind of pushing the sides out so that it looks like they're blooming roses. So after I finished all of those and cleaned up this bit of a mess, I went back and I'm using some Crisco to get all of that excess powdered sugar off of each of the roses. Then I'm going to use some piping gel to secure the outside to hold these together while they dry. Here I just kind of open it. You can see me doing it a little bit clearer doing this one, so I wanted to show it. So cleaning off that powdered sugar and then rolling it back up. I push the petals out a bit and then I'm sealing it. And this is what they look like once they're done. Now it's time to put the cake together. So here I am stacking it. I added some buttercream to the cake board so my cake doesn't move around. You'll notice I have it more towards the back of the cake board because I do want to have some roses around the front of the cake where the focal point is. Now I'm just stacking this cake. So I'm moving on with adding the pink color for the base of the cake. And I'm going to smooth that out to make the cake nice and smooth and ready for decorating. Here I am putting some piping gel on the back of that edible image and I'm placing that onto the cake. Using the back of my paintbrush to just kind of push it down to make sure that it is secured to the cake. Here I am adding some buttercream to the top of the cake to kind of prop that crown up so that it's leaning back a bit and it's really prominently placed. And now I'm going to begin to place the roses. So you'll see I move them around quite a bit just to kind of get the placement that I'm looking for on the cake to see what looks best. Cleaning the cake board as I move them around to make sure I don't have excess piping gel anywhere. And now I'm adding some leaves to each of the flowers. And with that, this is our cake. This is the final picture. I appreciate you coming to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, I encourage you to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future content as it's placed on my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate all of the support that you've provided. Thank you again.